Howdy gamers, Old Gamer Guy here. Welcome to another Civilization 6 video. It is the year 620 AD, and I am happy to report that the Indian Empire still exists.
Every man should make his son learn some useful trade or profession, so that in these days of changing fortunes, they may have something tangible to fall back upon.
Good advice from P.T. Barnum. We've unlocked a policy, but I'm going to leave things the way they are for now. Our emerging guilds require a large influx of gold, so now our knowledge of banking has been advanced a little bit. Not sure that's good news, really. But we need to choose a new civic. Still looking for culture-related stuff. So I've got medieval fairs and I've got divine right. I'm going to go with divine right. That will unlock monarchy. I don't know if I will use that type of government, but I'll think about it. And we now have enough influence points to send out another envoy. We've got 3 at Nan Madal, 3 at Kumasi, or Kumasai, I don't know. You get a bonus for 1 envoy, for 3 envoys, and for 6 envoys. So if we add 1 to Nan Madal, that will give us 4. The Scythians are taking an interest in how much gold we have saved up, which, to be honest, makes me a little bit paranoid. So I'm going to spend some of our gold and try to expand the potential borders of Third. As I'm looking back at this footage, I probably would have spent this money a little differently if I had it to do over again, but that's all right. We are expanding the borders of Third and making sure that we can have some space to spread out and get some resources around the town of Third.
I conclude then this point touching upon the power of kings with this axiom of divinity. That is, to dispute what God may do is blasphemy. So it is sedition to dispute what a king may do.
Yeah, that sounds like something a king would say. Speaking of kings, we have unlocked the monarchy as a government. I don't know if I will use that, but it is kind of interesting that building a wall would increase your housing. And I remember playing Civilization Revolution that I would always build walls around my city, so I'll think about that. Meanwhile, we need to pick a new civic to research. I'm going to go with humanism. We'll get a couple of museums that we can build and a couple of policies. Meanwhile, we need to pick a new thing to produce in Delhi. We've got some new religious types of units, the missionary, the apostle, and the guru. They all sound kind of interesting. I think I might make at least one missionary before too long and send them out to spread the good word about Buddhism. But right now we are going to build a magnificent elephant warrior, the Varu. And over in Katessan, we also need to make something new. I would like to build a harbor, but you can see harbor is in red. And that means we don't have a suitable place to put a harbor. So I'm going to look at the city and use a little bit more of our gold, like I did around Third, to expand Katessan a little bit to the south. And this area down here looks like a good spot for a harbor right there. Looks like it would be very scenic with some nice cliffs and stuff right there. So now we can build a harbor. And then while we get started on that, our amphitheater at Catesson is now finished, so Geoffrey Chaucer has a place to go create a new great work.
If I be he that may you do gladness, for every war ye shall recover a bliss, and him in arms took, and gan him kiss.
Okay, so I won't try to pronounce that title, but Geoffrey Chaucer has produced another great work of literature for us. It is now stored in the amphitheater in Catesson. We've got another space in the amphitheater for another great work of literature, and we have a space in the Temple of Delhi for a relic. But meanwhile, our scout has kind of outlived his usefulness. The borders of the various other empires and city-states are kind of blocking me from exploring the spaces on the map where I haven't explored yet, so I'm just going to eliminate that scout. Meanwhile, our magnificent elephant warrior is ready in Delhi. I'm trying to get a good look at it, but I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in on this footage. And it looks pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of the Oliphants in Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to have our magnificent elephant warrior, the Varu, fortify and protect Delhi. But Delhi needs to produce something new now. And as usual, you guessed it, this may be a mistake. But I'm going to make another settler and try to send them up this way to see if they can found a city up there. Could be a big mistake, as always. Third needs to get on something new to produce. It takes a while to produce anything in third at this point, but a monument is relatively fast, and that will help us with our culture. We seem to be going for a cultural victory, so I'm going to go for a monument in third.
Remember that people break down too, not just machinery.
All that glisters is not gold. Often have you heard that told.
Now we know about machinery and medieval fairs, so we can start to dress up in costumes and watch people pretend to joust while we drink mead or ale or something. But before we do that, we should fill in a policy space. An economic policy has disappeared. I guess it became obsolete. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Medina Quarter, which will add housing to all cities that have at least 3 specialty districts. And that means I'll need to be training some builders and build some new districts, at least around Third and probably around Catesson as well. I know Delhi has more than 3 districts, but I don't think Catesson does, and I'm sure Third doesn't. So I'll need to get to work on that. We need to pick a new technology. And I forgot for a moment that the whole reason I was researching machinery, besides the fact that it sounds like it would be generally useful, was that machinery directly leads to printing, and printing will help our culture, our pursuit of culture. So I'm going to go with that. That will increase our tourism from great works of writing, and that will also allow us to build a Forbidden City building, which sounds exciting. But choosing that in the technology tree has given us the opportunity for another great person. Another great writer, Marie Catherine d'Aulnoy. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I'm going to go with that. It looks like all the great prophets are gone. They've already been taken. We've got great musicians, great general, great admiral, great engineer, great scientist. So we have quite a few left. Some of those names I recognize. But we're going to go with this great writer. We only have one empty space for a great work of literature, so I'm going to have to build, I guess, another amphitheater, I guess in third, and maybe some other types of buildings will hold a great work of literature. I really don't know. A library, perhaps. But I think this is a good spot to end this video. We will pick this up in the next video, but for now, as always, thanks very much for watching.